Hello and welcome to AZ in the Circle, Arizona Softball Podcast. I'm Javier, your host. We have two great student athletes with us from Boston College and from Cornell University. We got Meghan Schouten. She goes to BC. She's from Phoenix. She's a two-time state champ for Xavier Prep. And then we also have Kyrie Denny from Catalina Foothills in Tucson, Arizona. Played for the OC Batbusters Stith and goes to Cornell. Thank you guys for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure. We're gonna have 5 questions. Maybe we'll get into some craft, pitching craft, hitting craft. But the 5 questions we want to ask is, hey, let's recap your 2024 season, and then talk about fall ball that just ended, and then I want to hear about your great teammates. Now that you guys are juniors, now you're taking that leadership role, and then Kyrie will share your recruiting journey. And then we'll maybe take a break and hear from Brig at Polaris PT, come back, and then we want to hear a little bit about NIL and how that affects you guys, student athletes, and what's going on there. And then we'll wrap up with, hey, what would you tell your younger self, knowing what you know now, right, about the college softball recruiting process. And then we'll finish up with your keys to your success. You guys are very successful at a young age, and we'd love to hear what your keys are. All right?
Sounds good.
All right, so here we go. Meghan, let's recap your 2024 season.
Yeah.
Okay. Boston College, really making some noise. Tell us.
Yeah. We made the ACC tournament last year, which is really awesome. I think that was the first time
In a while.
in a really long time. Yeah. So it was really great. It was really awesome. At the end of the season, it was coming down to our last couple series, and we had a couple walk-offs during our Louisville series. Zoe Hines, Gator Robinson. Super awesome. Really cool experience to be a part of. Just those last couple series were awesome. And then we made it to the ACC tournament, beat Syracuse after they just beat Virginia Tech and Florida State. And
you go to the tournament for the first time, and then you get a win.
yes.
I think I saw the video where they place, if you win, they put the sticker on the bracket.
Yeah, that was super, super exciting for us. Our pitcher, Abby Dunning, she threw a great game, and she got to put up our sticker. So it was really awesome. And then we played Duke, which that was a dogfight. It really was. That one was a rubber match for sure. And Abby Dunning was lights out again. And we lost on a walk-off in 10 innings.
In 10 innings on a walk-off.
Yep, it was
And that
0-0.
team, Yep. Coach Young's team eventually went on to the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that set you guys up for, I just want to lead into this, with that kind of success, kind of like, wow, we're so close. Has that energy translated to the fall?
For sure. We're hungry. Really hungry. We just had our freshmen come in, and they're awesome. We had 2 transfers come in. They're great too. And I think each year that I've been there, we get hungrier and hungrier for something more. We had that taste of it with the ACC tournament, so we're ready to go.
That's good. And the season goes so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you try to get to 50, 55 games, 60 games, and there's always a few rainouts in there. But those 55 games go pretty quick.
They go really
You
fast.
start in February, next thing you know, it's May.
Yeah,
You're
you
playing-
blink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's amazing there. And then tell us, so your best memory on the field, probably what you just talked about.
Yeah, I think the whole end of our season, those 2 walk-offs were really awesome. Really fun, really exciting. And it was kind of just a breath of fresh air to see that we clinched a spot to go to the ACC tournament. After that was our goal. We sat down last fall in 2023.
Yep.
We sat down in 2023 and we're like, we want to go to the ACC tournament. And that was our goal the whole entire year, starting in the fall. So once we achieved that, it was great. And we just wanted to keep going. So it was beating Syracuse. Syracuse is one of our rivals. So that was a really big game for us, especially after they came off really hot after those last 2 series. So that was huge for us. And then competing with one of the top 25 teams in the country and knowing that we can do it and knowing that it is possible for us to beat a team like that. So that was the best.
Now, with that said, in 2023, you made that a goal for your 2024 season. Have you guys sat down as a team and made new goals?
Yeah, we want to go to a regional.
Oh, that's awesome.
We want to go further than we did this year.
Good. And then what about your best memory off the field?
I really don't think I have one. I think it's all the time that we spend together, just bonding as teammates, being together, being in the hotel rooms, playing games, and just being with each other off the field and really becoming close. And I think that's one thing that's so special about BC softball is we have such a unique culture and such a amazing team that we're all friends regardless of where we come from, regardless of our background. We're just all super duper close and we're willing to go anywhere with anybody on our team. And I think that's really special. And so I think it's just bonding as a team outside of the field and being able to go places and do things and explore with each other.
That's definitely a recurring theme that we hear is the camaraderie.
Yeah.
You guys share, the sisterhood. And then Kyrie, you know, and the connection between you two is you played for OC Baptist Stith, you played for Athletic Mercado Ornales.
Mm-hmm.
And so you guys, those are both Southern California club teams. So you guys played against each other a lot. And that's kind of where you started that friendship, or it was already going?
Yeah, so we were on AIA Slack together. So Arizona Interscholastic Association Student Leadership Advisory Committee. So she was for Catfoot, I was for Xavier, and that's where we met and then had a connection because we played in California.
All right, good. So Kyrie, tell us, let's recap your 2024 season in at Cornell. Now, I did some research, and you led the team in innings pitched, 88 innings pitched, right? You also led the team in ERA, the lowest ERA, and then also strikeouts. So you're one of the workhorses for your team. So with that said, recap your 2024 season.
So I actually started off the season with an injury, and we went down to Florida, and it was really interesting, and it was kind of nice to be able to sit back and watch how the team functions when you're not there and kind of be able to help your team and assume that team player role as opposed to being like pitching a lot or constantly warming up, to just kind of sit there and be like, what can I do to help out? So that was really neat to start off. But when we came back, I mean, we had so many neck and neck games. Our Yale series was awesome. Playing against them, and our Princeton series was my favorite, being up with a team who keeps winning the tournament.
That was at the very end of the season.
Yeah, so that was our
before the
last.
tournament.
Yeah.
You guys won one of those games.
Yeah, so it was really fun. I mean, that was some of the most competitive that I think I've ever seen us play. A lot of great out of our girls. Tons of diving plays, great plays in the defense. Our left fielder, holy cow, Sydney, was diving all over the place. It was great, but
That make you feel good as a pitcher?
Oh, it's awesome. Like watching people lay out behind you, like knowing that they're giving just as much as you are. It's like a bond that, like an unspoken.
And does it make you like? Does it fire you up inside and give you that
absolutely.
little adrenaline rush
Yeah.
for the next pitch?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've never cheered louder on the mound for people, but as like you do when you see them sell out like that. I mean, obviously you're always rooting for your teammates, but when someone makes an awesome play like that, like you forget that you even did something good. Like, it's like, oh, that might have been a great pitch, but it's like, holy cow, that play was like ridiculous. But
That's good. And then what about your best memories off the field from the 2024 season?
We got together and watched the Super Bowl together. And when I tore my pec, I was in a sling, and all my teammates helped me make this huge loaded baked mac and cheese. And I was carrying it around with one arm, like trying to serve it to everyone. It was so much fun. And then getting together, Coach Tara, her fiance Andy, is the head field hockey coach. So we were with our field hockey team and we watched the Super Bowl, and that was super fun.
That's Coach Temby?
Yeah.
She's the hitting coach?
Yeah.
Yep. I saw her in Brazil, and I've seen her in the recruiting journey because she's the U18 Britain coach as well.
Yeah, and one of our seniors from last year, Lily, she also helped coach. So it was super cool.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And who won the Super Bowl last year? I don't know who won.
Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs. Yeah. Is that who everybody at Cornell wanted to win?
I don't think any of us actually were rooting for anyone. We were just
having
there
fun
to bond and hang out.
Yeah, I think they should definitely make Monday after the Super Bowl a national holiday.
Oh, for real? Yeah.
Right? That should.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll see if we can get that happen. Okay, so thank you for that. And now the second question: how did fall ball go for both you, Meghan? So last time you were here and you shared your recruiting journey, I think you were going through some adversity last year. You were in a sling or something like that. So finally healthy and you're coming back for your fall season. How'd it go?
It was awesome. I don't think I've ever worked harder in my life for something, because I want something different for myself, and I really just want to work hard this year. And that shift into junior year, I think, is a really big shift. And I think that I want to work so hard because I didn't get the opportunity last year, specifically in the fall, because obviously I was recovering from shoulder surgery, and that was tough for me. Definitely learned lessons coming back from that, as well as being in a different space than I normally am and being in a different role. I think it was great for my journey, and I'm really grateful for it, even though it did push me in different ways I didn't think it would, and it was hard work to come back from that. But this fall, it was great. I think the team is great. We have such a strong freshman class. Like, they are physically strong, mentally strong. They're awesome. And then we have 2 transfers that came in. They're awesome too. And it's just really exciting, a really good bond for all of us. And our fall ball went great. We finally beat BU since I've been there, which was awesome. And it was just a great fall. And we pushed and pushed, and we're excited for what's coming.
That's good. And with your teammates, and now being a junior, you feel like you maybe, without even thinking about it, you took a leadership role where you took some of the freshmen under your wing, or?
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing for me was sharing my experience as a freshman, or like sharing the experiences that I went through. And because my softball journey hasn't been necessarily the easiest, I would say, mentally in college. And I think working through that and learning who I am as a person, as well as how I should deal with adversity, has been the biggest thing. And just sharing those lessons with those girls has been really big for me, and sharing my faith with them too. I think that has really pushed me to that leadership role and just take them under my wing.
Good. And then Kyrie, how about your fall season? You're junior as well.
So we had a huge group of freshmen come in. I think there's 5 or 6 of them, and we lost 2 seniors last year. So we filled a lot more gaps than we kind of had to fill, but it was super awesome watching the work ethic of these girls that came in. I mean, they busted their butt every time. Like, I work in our weight room. We have girls outside of team lift in the weight room coming in to get agility ladders while I'm working at the front desk. So watching that, as someone who also likes to do that in my free time, and I know a lot of my teammates do, like, watching that group come in so early. Even I wasn't there during orientation week, but I was hearing so many stories of how they prepared for the conditioning test that we didn't end up having and all this stuff. Like, they were so gritty and ready and wanting to work hard, and it showed when we played in the fall. I mean, they all played so great. They all got a lot of opportunity, and they filled the gaps that needed to be filled, and even some of them took over roles that they're capable of doing. So that was super nice to see.
Do they lean on you as terms of, hey, that's Kyrie there, she's a stud pitcher for us? Did you find yourself having people on your wing as well?
Oh, for sure, especially our freshman and sophomore pitchers. I mean, getting them together to work out with me. They come to cardio workouts with me outside of practice and stuff, which is super fun because it's also nice to just not do it alone. But coming and doing long toss, all that kind of stuff, getting together and working on stuff, even leaning on each other for like pitching advice, even mechanical stuff like, hey, I'm going to go throw a bullpen. Can you come watch this kind of stuff? So that was super nice and great. And that was a good leadership role, I think, to fill.
And then your pitching coach, Coach Hennigar, is the Canadian fast pitch coach, right?
Yeah.
Pitch for them. So, and then how has that been, having a coach like that helping you guys?
It's been so great, and something that I love about him is he is so blunt. So he's just going to tell you the way it is. There's no like sugarcoating or anything. So he'll just straight up be like, oh, that sucks, or oh, that's great. Like, you always know, and you're never questioning like what you're doing. You always know like how it is exactly the way it is, even if it's not what you want to hear, or even if it's not what you thought you were going to hear. So it's just super nice, but he's great. He is really knowledgeable and has a lot of experience. He played with Mike White, who coached at Oregon and who coaches at Texas now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But he brings years of experience and tons of knowledge and stuff from his experience playing. So
You mentioned 3 things before we started filming. In order preference for him pitching, you said it was 3 different things. What was the most important for him?
Hitting your spots. Over spin and speed, being able to hit your spot, because even if you're just throwing a fastball, if you can learn to place it in the right spot, people still can't hit it if you can have good command over it and learn how to put it where you want to put it.
And then after that was spin?
Yeah.
And since he probably knows all kinds of spin.
Yeah, all kinds of spin, all kind of grip, off-speed pitches for everything. He taught me an off-speed curveball, which has been...
That's like a hybrid pitch.
Yeah,
it's not a change up, but it's a curveball, but it's something different.
Yeah, and you still get just as much spin, even though you're holding it in a way you feel like you're not spinning it. It's super interesting, and he has so much like knowledge. He taught another girl an off-speed rise ball, which is
an off-speed rise ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's insane. Like, when she throws it well, it's the same with our curveball. Because I mean, we just learned these pitches, but when we throw it well, it's nasty.
because you're sitting on it. You think, oh, that must be a changeup. It's not going to move. All of
Yeah.
a sudden it moves.
Yeah.
Well, her changeup is nasty.
Nasty. Yeah.
It's
And
nasty.
on top of the changeup just being nasty by itself, now
Yeah.
you got a little spin and move on it. That's good. I like to hear that inside stuff. All right. So the next question, Kyrie, was we're going to share your recruiting journey. So we'd love to you go back in time in your junior year before September 1st and what you were thinking and what you did that to prepare for September 1st. And then after September 1st, how did you eventually end up at Cornell?
Yeah. So I know Megan gets it. Our recruiting process started probably like 5th or 6th grade because this was before the September 1st rule. So I know when I was in like 5th and 6th grade, my coaches were already having us like writing practice emails, emailing small schools, and kind of as we got older, starting to email bigger schools. But I knew from like middle school that I wanted to go to an Ivy League school. I wanted to go somewhere academic. I love school. Studying and making notes was something that I just had so much fun doing. So I was like, I want to go to a school like where I can do a ton of that. So I started emailing. I think the first Ivy League school I emailed was Yale, actually, because of a family connection. So I just kind of sat in that group of schools. And then when I grew up in Florida, I moved to Arizona, played for Suncats Judge, and then went to Batbusters Stith. And I told Mike, I was like, I know I want to be in the Ivy League. And he started getting me connected there. So right before September 1st rolled around, I made sure I'd emailed like every single school in the Ivy League. And then at midnight on September 1st, Cornell texted me, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And Yale had also texted me. So I popped on a few phone calls with them, and I loved the Cornell coaches. I liked the Yale coaches too.
Coach Barlow?
So it was actually Coach Brewster. She
Okay.
coaches at BU now.
All right.
But
Yes, she does.
I hopped on a few calls with her. She was so great. She really like made sure to get to know who I was as a person, which was really nice. So every time, like compared to all the other calls I had, like a lot of them were like, here's our school, here's why it's great. And that was great. But Coach Brewster, she was the one who kind of like did most of my recruiting. But she really just made sure to like, hey, here's Cornell, here's why Cornell's great. Here's our team, here's what our girls like to do outside of softball, here's what Cornell's like outside of softball. And that was really important. And she always like asked like things I liked to do. So that was really nice. And we kind of got to know each other on a personal level. And I felt like Coach Brewster and I made a connection. And then I met Coach Tempe and Coach Farlow. And that was really nice. And I just loved the coaching staff so much. And then I hopped on a call with a few girls. And they were
in
super
early September sometime.
Yeah.
Called after you talked to the coach, and then you talked with some of the teammates.
Yeah, so I was kind of on a Zoom call with them and a couple of teammates, and then
What year is this? Is this during
this is 2021 for
Okay.
me.
Did you get to go visit there or not visit there because of the?
Yeah. So I've had a tournament in Texas, and we actually drove all the way up to Cornell, and we were just gonna
From
do.
Texas?
Yep.
What part of Texas?
We were.
Doesn't matter. It's
I don't
that's
even
far away.
remember. So
Doesn't matter.
But we were near Austin because we stayed with my uncle, but who lives there, and we drove up, and we were gonna do a whole like little like Northeast school tour. We were gonna go to Yale and Princeton also, and some other schools up there. And I got to Cornell. No one was on campus. It was so good because it was COVID, so no one was there.
In the Northeast.
Yeah, it was freezing too.
Austin was.
It was
full of
cold
people.
at that point.
It was like
It was
October.
cold.
No, it was November when I went up, and
But that's good because you got to see the campus.
oh yeah, it was so nice, and I got a nice taste of the cold when I was up there. I think it was like 20 degrees.
And how is this? So is the swag pretty cool? Pretty keeps you warm. The stuff
Oh.
they give you.
Yeah, I have this huge parka, and it's my favorite thing. Parka, beanie, everybody wears it. We all the athletes get them, but it's super nice. Keeps us warm.
And that campus is beautiful.
Oh,
There's
it's
like
gorgeous.
waterfalls there.
Yeah,
And
waterfalls. The top of our campus overlooks Cayuga Lake, one of the Finger Lakes. It's beautiful. So many places to hike and like swimming holes when it's not frozen.
Yep.
But it's beautiful up there. No, I really love it. But I got up there and it sounds so cliche, and I talk about it all the time, and people are like, you step on campus and you know it's home.
You really do.
Like you really
know.
step on campus and you're like, wow. And I like always thought it was like so corny whenever people would say that, and I would like listen to them talk about their recruiting stories. I was like, wow, like that's so like corny. But I got there and I was like, wow, they're so right. Like I got there and I was like, this is a campus I feel like I can navigate. Like the coaches like feel like family, and the girls that I've met so far are great. Yeah, so I committed on campus on a Zoom call because we weren't allowed to see each other in person because of COVID. So yeah.
coach was super excited.
Oh yeah, it was funny because she was there, but we couldn't be together. So I literally committed on a Zoom call, and then I actually forgot to hang up the call, and I was like, I did it. They started laughing. so hard. I was so embarrassed.
Who started laughing? Coach Brewster started laughing?
No, I think Coach Farlow. I was on a call. I was in a
Coach
Zoom with
Farlow.
all three
Okay.
of them. I think they all started giggling. That I was like, oh, that's awkward. But it was so
Well, at least
fun.
you were still celebrating.
I know. I was so excited. But yeah,
And you were there. You said who took the road trip with you?
my whole family. So my mom, dad, brother. Yeah.
And
Wow.
then you turned around and drove back.
Instead of going to the other places, we just were like, okay, we're done.
Yeah. Oh,
Went
okay.
back.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
true.
we're done.
It saved you a few hours.
Yeah, literally saved us a few days, probably.
Yep. That's good. Well, thanks for sharing that. And then appreciate that. Oh, I wanted to ask you this. What do you think worked best during the recruiting process in terms of communicating with coaches prior to September 1st? What do you think you got the best bang for your buck? What maybe it was social media, maybe it was emails, maybe it was Coach Stith calling coaches. What do you think?
I think just exposure, being in as many tournaments, camps, like big tournament. Colorado is a huge one. Going to the camps that were happening, like that were kind of part of the tournament, but not just getting as much exposure in front of coaches. I think that was the biggest thing, and just going to as many camps as possible during the summer. Like it's a grind when you have to go to camp and then you go to a couple of your games and you're going to another camp and you're doing that all weekend. You're pooped, but I think that to me was the most beneficial thing. And then I would say like Twitter, but I feel like now I even question it because I feel like so many kids are using Twitter that stuff just gets lost in the feed. Like so many coaches are getting tagged. Now I feel like it wasn't as prevalent when we were getting recruited as it is now. Like I know my brother used to get recruited for football, and the amount of stuff in my feed, like I lose content. Like I feel like I don't see the stuff I'm supposed to see.
Yeah. I stopped looking at Twitter.
Yeah.
It seems like on X, formerly known as Twitter, the good news is the coaches can choose what to see on their feed.
Yeah.
They could, if they, 2027 class is on the clock now, they could not have followed them before and now pick a few that they want to follow.
Yeah.
And then they start seeing that. And then the kid sees that they're following, the coach is following them. And so they can narrow it down and only accept. And then if they only follow you is the only way you can DM them.
Yeah.
So that's good. They have some roadblocks there if they want to put up.
Yeah.
That's good. Great. Well, thank you for sharing your story. It's one of my favorite parts of the show. And we're going to take a short break and hear from Brig over at Polaris PT in Queen Creek. We'll be right back.
At Polaris PT and Wellness, we believe that movement is medicine. We believe that as an athlete, you should be performing at the highest level. And so we deliver performance-driven solutions to get you back out onto the field faster. So give us a call at 480-808-4995 or reach out to us through our website, www.polarisptphx.com, where movement is medicine.
And we are back. Thank you, Brig, with Polaris PT out in Queen Creek. And now we're going to talk to Meghan. Meghan, we had you on a show after your freshman season, and you told us about your recruiting journey. So in our, follow us on YouTube at AZ in the Circle. All the episodes were there. Follow us, like us, subscribe. And matter of fact, during the break, you said that you were going to teach me. You said get a TikTok. I don't know a TikTok. And then you just started a TikTok, right?
We're going to get a TikTok.
You just started one?
Yes, I just started my public TikTok. So
I've never had a TikTok, so
we'll get you a TikTok.
Okay, good. So after the show, you set me up with
Yes.
Yeah. My daughter in New York is gonna be like, finally, Dad. But okay, we'll get it going. So today, since you already shared your recruiting story in a previous episode, I want to talk about you just mentioned it a little bit, social media, but this nil space, name, image, likeness. It keeps growing for student athletes. We hear some crazy stuff. Like the other day, I heard that this, which I thought was insane, but who knows why. A Stanford wide receiver, Stanford freshman, finished his Stanford year, and then he got in the portal, and he ended up in some other Mountain West team. And I was like, oh my gosh, you go to such a great schools, but then we don't never know what happens behind the scenes, that why that is. So, and whether they're chasing money or not, I don't know. But what has been your experience with it, Meghan, and how has it educated you on the business side of sports?
Yeah, so I mean, I've looked for opportunities to find an income. So merch. So this is actually this is my mom's sweatshirt, and it has my name and my number on the back. And so I get income from that whenever that's bought. So any merch, I have my own custom merch, and then I have this one as well. And so it's just finding sources of income. So I have a lot of teammates that do different brand deals or things like that. And I think that's really awesome. And they get free products as well in exchange for posting. So obviously you have to exchange something in order for it to be legal. So they do different brand deals and post it on their social media about why they like it and their things about it. So I think that it's been really beneficial because it's made me look at things a little bit differently in terms of the business space, but also being able, as somebody that is so young, to be able to move into the entrepreneurship space and like see different pieces where you can make an income. So, I mean, I've talked to a lot of people and they talk about finding a market need and finding a way to fill that market need. So I think that's what NIL has really opened up for me, is kind of that entrepreneurship mind in order to make an income and be successful at such a young age.
Yeah, that's well put, because I think what happens is after you guys graduate, you have fantastic degrees, you already have that seed to like, well, shit, what can I do? And you already have that practice of like, oh, remember when I started this or I started that or I had this idea. But that's totally what entrepreneurship is about anyway, is having an idea and then seeing it come to life. So thank you for sharing that. And then I guess, Kyrie, you actually wrote a paper on it.
Yeah, so
NIL.
I took a sports comm class this semester, a sports communication class, and we focused so much on NIL because it's so new. And basically the paper I covered was the implications of like NIL in the Ivy League, because we financially and kind of just on everything in general, we have limitations on stuff. So like on NIL, like our NIL opportunities are smaller than they are for like ACC or other Power 5 schools. But basically my paper just focused on how, because we already don't get athletic scholarships in the Ivy League and our tuition is notoriously high, there's a lot of costs that have to be covered for, especially for students who don't get like any sort of aid, or like one of my teammates, like she pays for it all herself. She works tons of jobs at school. I work 3 jobs at school, just to be able to like pay for groceries and pay for other stuff. And so NIL is super important because it's like in those 20 hours a week you have doing softball that you're allowed to have. You also have like, I work like 16 to 20 hours a week outside of that. And then it's like the other hours of class and studying. Like Wednesdays were my worst
Studying
day.
a big deal in the Ivy League or something?
Yeah, I know. It's
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah.
But it's like Wednesdays were my longest days because I would be at work at 5:45 in the morning. I would be there until 9, go to class, hopefully grab lunch, go to lift, go to practice. I'd get home at like 9 or 10 p.m. and it's like, oh, I have to start my homework now. Pooped, wiped.
You might stay up way past midnight.
The
Yeah,
hardest is trying to find
Yeah.
time to eat.
and that's why it's
That's
like,
the worst.
yeah, the dining halls close early and like
Yeah.
you never know when to eat. But it's like the NIL is so important. When I got an NIL with a supplement brand, and I was able to
What brand?
a supplement brand. It's called
Okay.
Gainful, but I did that. They paid me. I was able to take like 4 hours off my work week the next week because I got paid enough to
Perfect.
get groceries,
Yeah.
which was so nice. It's like the costs that don't get covered by financial aid or whatever it is. The NIL is so important on being able to cover that, especially without scholarship money or other like support for like day-to-day stuff.
Super. So you did a paper on it, you studied it, you put together something, you got
Yeah.
work. That's great. Fantastic. Okay, so going into our last 2 questions. Oh, another thing that I want to back up here, Megan, you, Coach K, has really brought in an energetic staff with
Yeah.
Coach Roger, big strong guy, right? And then he also brought in Coach Tori.
Yep.
From Rhode Island.
Yes.
Yeah, and then Coach Leah.
Coach Leah, yeah.
How's that come together in the fall?
I love it. I love them as a staff. I think we have different personalities, so if one person is telling you something and it doesn't make sense, you can go to the other person and they can explain it a different way, and then it clicks. So I think having different personalities as well as having different people to go to, and they are the most open group. They are always willing to talk, whether that be softball, whether that be personal, whether that be school, anything. They're always willing to be there for us, and that's their main concern is us as people. And I think that that's really a great driving factor. And they have so much knowledge about the game, and it's really exciting to get to learn from them. I think I've grown probably more in the past 3 months than I have in probably my whole career.
Wow.
So just learning from them and learning different perspectives, I think is really awesome. And being able to have them all collaborate for us to become the best that we can. And that's, I think, the most exciting is that they all get to touch every part of the game with us. And I think it's it's really a great staff, and I'm really excited to see what comes from it because I've created great relationships with them, and it makes me love going to softball every day.
Good. And so Coach K, from a big point of view, she put together a great staff. Has there been a driving force? Have you guys found your identity going into the season yet, or it's kind of going towards a certain way?
Right now I think it kind of just, it always shifts, but it's our identity is really what we found last year, and obviously that changes from year to year, but I think it's just letting go of that fear of failure and performing. So
Let's continue on in the fall.
yeah,
That theme.
absolutely is like work hard, get in there, perform mentally, perform physically, and I think it's just be the best we can be on any given day and work hard in order to do that.
That's good. That's good. All right, so the last two questions. I'll start with Kyrie. Knowing what you know now, what would you tell your younger self about the college softball recruiting process?
I think that what I would tell my younger self is to look out for coaches and stuff who care about who you are as a person, your development as a person, coaches that are going to help you and give you guiding and insight through the career process also. But just a place that looks like home. I think sometimes it can be really hard, especially when you're younger, to look past like, I want to go to like a Power 5 school, and that's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I know so many girls that went to schools like that and they love it, but I also know so many girls who went to schools like that and they transferred because they weren't looking for that kind of like family feel and it wasn't the right environment for them. I think if you can find a program that makes you feel like you're at home, no matter where you are, no matter who you're with, like if you're with your teammates, like you're comfortable, especially being so far away from home. I think that's the most important. And I would say like to my younger self, like that's the most important thing you should be looking for in a school.
Fantastic. And Megan, what would you tell your younger self about the college softball recruiting process?
I would echo what Kyrie said, and definitely find where home is and find the place that's going to develop you as a person, and not necessarily just as a softball player, but as a whole, academically, physically, softball wise, mentally. I think everything that we do, we work so hard for softball, and I think that going to college is so much bigger than that. Like, yes, we're going to play softball, but it's more about how we are going to be shaped as people. So I think finding the school that's going to be right for you to be best shaped as a person. So whether that's through the staff, through the team, I think that's really important. And going back to that family aspect, I think that is probably the biggest thing, is find where your family is, because those are your people for 4 years. And I mean, again, going so far away is you want to find those people that you're going to really lean into, especially when it's hard being so far away.
And probably not just for those 4 years, but probably down the
after.
road,
Yeah.
weddings and
Yes.
reunions and just life in general. They'll be there for you.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time. It's like, you're going to be my wedding.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really awesome.
Good. And then last question, and I have so much fun. So thank you again for being here today. Sorry, it's the last question. But hey, what are your personal keys to success, Kyrie?
I think the biggest one, which is so simple but underrated, is breathing. Like in everything you do in your training, in games especially, I think it's important. But I play for Team Germany, and before every single inning, we come together and we take a deep breath and just kind of center each other. We get together and we kind of talk about what our goals are for the inning, take a deep breath, and we go and we get out there, especially as a pitcher, like taking a breath before a pitch, really locking in on where I want to throw it, what I want that pitch to do, like knowing that it's my pitch. I think that's super important, and my success, at least, being able to slow everything down, even when stuff is going fast paced, being able to take it at your own pace is really important. And I think just like proper sleep, proper nutrition, but also making sure you're having fun. Like you don't want to be, I think it can get really stressful, just the grind being in college and stuff. Like make sure you go watch the Super Bowl with your teammates. Like go out for a hike, like go do something fun. Like as like easy as it can be to fall into the grind, I think like you have to also take a step back and be like, okay, like don't forget who you are outside of softball. Like go do stuff, even if it's with your teammates. Like go do something that you enjoy doing, so that you're not like stressing or thinking too much about it. Because at the end of the day, it's just a game. And I think also remembering that like you're there to have fun, even when it does get stressful. Even when you're there, it's just like you're there to have fun. Like breathe and enjoy it.
It's good. I like the breathing thing. And when you take that breath before that pitch, are you visualizing where you're going to hit the spot, or are you just resetting your body?
Yeah, I take a deep breath and I'm like, this is exactly where I want to throw it. I kind of make sure like I lower my shoulders and then I'm like relaxed and then I'm not too tense. I'm not trying to force the pitch to go somewhere, but I can see where I want it to go. And then just spin it and be loose about it. So.
Thank you. And then Meghan, your keys to your success.
So this is going to be slightly philosophical. I have been trying to redefine what success is, rather than be results based, but more so on happiness. So for me, nowadays, being successful is built on, am I happy? Am I joyful? So I think that for me, it's finding joy in the Lord, as it is for Kyrie as well.
Yep.
It's finding joy in the Lord and also recognizing that we are defined on more than just softball and more than just numbers, more than results. So being successful, yes, I would love to have great results and I would love to be the best in the ACC and things like that. But I think success for me is, am I happy? And that's not, am I happy in the moment, but am I just happy all around? So for me, it's finding joy in the Lord, finding success within the Lord, and also redefining that I am more than a softball player. I am more than Meghan Schouten, number 20 on Boston College softball team, but I am a child of God. And that for me, understanding that the results aren't necessarily what success is something that has been really key for me. It's redefining like what is good, what is bad, but kind of who knows and who lives in the present. My dad actually brought something up really interesting that I like to keep in my mind. He said, good news, bad news, who knows? And that's to anything that happens. Like, let's say you hit a home run, good news, bad news, who knows? Obviously, it's great that you hit a home run, but who knows? You're living in the present. It could be bad down the road because then you could have expectations on you, but it could also be great because you could also hit really successfully, or what could be defined as success. So I think redefining what success is for me is finding that happiness, but also what I do for that is to, one, glorify the Lord and remember that I am more than results, but also remember that I'm living in the present and I'm here not for myself, but for a greater purpose. And that success is defined on how I work hard and the effort that I put into softball because I have been given that gift and not necessarily the numbers that have been attached to my name.
Yeah. No, amen. That's great, Meghan. I'm a big firm believer that success, the way I've redefined it, like you say, you like it, it really shouldn't be determined by results, but it should be determined by what you've had to overcome,
Absolutely.
To be successful. And you guys have both overcome a lot, if you think about it. That's why you are successful, So kudos to you for thinking that way.
Thank you.
It's
hard. It's still a journey. It's still a process. And sometimes I fall back, but that's the goal.
It's great.
Thanks.
But hey, you guys have been super open with us. It's been fun. Thank you for being here with us. And thank you guys out there for tuning in. And remember to subscribe, like, follow us. I'll soon have a TikTok account, so maybe the next episode I'll let you know.
Look out for the TikTok.
I'll let you know about that. But follow us on X at AZ in the Circle, Instagram at AZ in the Circle, and YouTube at AZ in the Circle. I'm Javier with AZ in the Circle, Arizona Softball Podcast. Thank you for watching.